True crime with ease.
Happy holidays, everyone. Public service announcement. If you or family members get into a fight this holiday season and you want to record it, please don't shake the phone and turn it this way. Thanks. If you have seen this missing 5-year-old, Michael Vaughan, aka Monkey, please call 911 immediately. Last seen wearing a blue Minecraft shirt, black boxer briefs with green stitching, and flip-flop sandals.
But we're tired of the lies. No more lies. What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know.
You do.
I don't want anybody to waste their energy on what we've done.
I believe she is still alive.
Why not search then?
I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility.
To missing 5-year-old Michael Vaughan of Fruitland. Fruitland police say they have made contact with the men who may have information about Michael's remains. Last week, they asked for the public's help locating 30-year-old Brandon Shirtliff of Cuna and 32-year-old Adrian Lucien of Toledo, Ohio. That is Lucien there, and then that is Shirtliff. Both men were staying at the home of Sarah and Stacy Wondra on Red Wing Street when Michael disappeared back in July of 2021. Fruitland police say they are working closely with the Payette County prosecutor as they continue to investigate.
Let me tell you what's wrong with y'all motherfuckers.
The idea, but you're saying that they couldn't have done it. Now, let's go back to that day Michael went missing, right? So,
Yeah.
that morning, where were you all at on July 27th, 2021, the day Michael was reported missing? Where were you guys at in the morning?
Using JLR's interview with Brandon Shirtliff, we're going to break this down by morning, midday, and evening of his account of events on 7/27/21, the day Michael was taken.
Earlier in the day, after we woke up and had breakfast and watched TV and coffee. After we woke up and had breakfast and watched TV and coffee.
Okay, pretty straightforward. But what about Stacy? A dear friend went to the area that he or she thought could be the same area that was on the TikTok video that Stacy Wondra uploaded the morning of 7/27 at 7:42 a.m., which is about 30 miles away. Now, does this mean that Stacy Wondra and or Brandon and Sarah and Adrian were in the car in this area in the morning of 7/27/21? Or did he upload it at that time while he was at home or somewhere else? I do not know. I'm hoping the metadata could prove that information. So what does Brandon know about Stacy's whereabouts that day?
All right, so where was Stacy during all of this?
He was back at the house.
So Stacy said, you think Stacy stayed home all that day? Stayed home?
We left him there at the house. I don't know if he stayed there the whole time or not, to be honest.
Was anyone else there with him?
I don't think so. I think it was just him home alone at that point.
And
that was before we went to tow.
So Brandon doesn't know if Stacy stayed home all day while Sarah, Adrian, and him were in Nampa, and if anybody else was around during that time. But we have to keep in mind that Michael was seen up until about 6:30 because the abduction time is
probably between the time of 6:40 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. on the 27th.
So there's really not much we can go on, but keep in mind that he was the dispatcher for the Faith Taxi LLC business that they ran. So let's jump into Midday.
We went to Applebee's, me and Sarah and one of her other friends that was there visiting for like a week or so because he came in from the airport. He wanted to go visit his family over by Nampa area somewhere, by the Karcher Mall. And then after that, me, Adrian, and Sarah went to Applebee's, where we dropped him off there after me and Sarah got a chicken sandwich and a soda pop over there at the Popeyes.
So Stacy's there, you guys go out. What about the afternoon from the mall to you going back to the neighborhood? Did you guys go anywhere else, stop anywhere else?
We just went over to a pawn shop, I think, just kind of look around at the pawn shop a little bit. And we went to the pawn shop, bought an iPad, and then came back and we were just chilling. And we went and did kind of a YouTube video that day where we were trying to make music.
Maybe kind of like this.
Told baby girl, where you at, where you stay. Pull up to your girl.
Kind of like a car crash scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we were hanging out with him doing that earlier.
So what car were you guys all in?
We were in that little 2016 Toyota Corolla. Sarah took me to lunch over at Popeyes, and she was going to buy a sandwich for me, Adrian, and her, but he said, my family's here, I want to see them, so I'm going to go to Applebee's and go over here and have dinner with them, or lunch with them real quick, and then give me a little bit of time to do that, and then you guys come back and get me.
Yeah.
So we did that, and in the meantime, me and Sarah were bored just kind of driving around the mall, and we didn't know what to do, so I drove back over to my house to get a water bottle and fill it up with water to bring back over to their house because I didn't like their water.
Yeah.
And then during that time, after that, we came back to the mall and we picked up Adrian, me and Sarah, and then all three of us, Sarah, Adrian, and I, we hopped in the car and we went back to the Fruitland house where they do their taxi business.
All right, now let's jump into the evening time, which is the most crucial time.
I spent the night there because we came in towing my car from my mom's to their house. And we came back over there, and then right as soon as we were getting the car back to the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood was on high alert looking for the little boy, Michael Vaughan. And they said he went missing right that day earlier, right before we came in with the car we were towing.
So what time was the neighborhood alerted?
Multiple agencies went door to door yesterday. They talked to neighbors, they searched fields, searched yards, and all in hopes of finding this little boy. Neighbors say they learned about the 5-year-old's disappearance around 7:30 on Tuesday night. Neighbors say they learned about the 5-year-old's disappearance around 7:30 on Tuesday night. Neighbors say they learned about the 5-year-old's disappearance around 7:30 on Tuesday night.
Since the neighborhood was alerted at 7:30 p.m., but there was a search happening, Sarah and Brandon coming into the neighborhood had to have been 7:30 p.m. at the earliest. But if he's telling the truth, it's more likely to be 8 or 8:30.
And then right as soon as that happened, I went out and tried to look for the kid with Sarah. We got in her little Toyota car and drove to the gas station and drove around after we got out of the pickup. And then tried to look in the field to see if he went down by the river or if he could be out just wandering lost. And, that's what hit my mind first. And then from there, it was me and Sarah. We went to the gas station, got some milk, and then did this and that and came back. And then right when we got back, Carson had his pickup next door with a light bar on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, hey, we need to start this up and kind of go look in the neighborhood and the farmer field and the river. We got to go find this missing person report that just came out,
What missing persons report is he speaking on? What time did it come out? And what is code red? Payette County utilizes the Code Red emergency notification system, and according to Payette County Sheriff Andy Greach, the first alert was sent at 8:20 p.m. The initial alert was sent to the neighborhood where the child resided, and then the area was expanded to include Fruitland, Payette, and New Plymouth. There were 4 separate alerts sent out, and the alert system attempted to make calls to over 16,000 phones, 30 phone numbers for the hearing impaired, as well as over 2,000 emails and almost 4,000 text messages. Important times are that the 911 call was at 7:21 p.m., the neighbors first alerted of a search at 7:30, and Code Red Alert went out at 8:20 p.m. Lana Westbrook has confirmed that Adrian was at the Applebee's at 4:47 p.m. Let's look at the time that it takes to get from Applebee's to Red Wing Street in Fruitland. The maps show that it takes about 35 to 45 minutes. So we'll just go in the middle and say 40 minutes. So let's just say they all leave at 5 p.m. and they arrive at 5:40. There's a 1 hour and 20 minute to the abduction time of 6:40 to 7. So what was going on between the 1 hour to 1 hour and 20 minute timeline?
While you're coming back, that's when you noticed everyone searching for Michael?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I remember going to the gas station. We were probably at the gas station filling up like right at 7.
Right at 7. What gas station?
It was the Chevron right there just up from their house.
Yeah.
So the trip from 1102 Red Wing to Chevron to Kuna and then back to the 1102 Red Wing house takes about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
So where you were seeing people out there looking for Michael, or you were seeing police?
I was just seeing police cars cruising around, and I was seeing a lot of like the neighbors going out in their cars cruising around, and just like the whole subdivision from the left side to the right side. They were all just out, everybody walking around and looking, and flashlights, search and rescue was there, police, everything.
But how did you know they were looking for Michael?
Because so when we were pulling into the subdivision, Sarah was driving the pickup, and she stopped and talked to the neighbor that was coming down the road the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
And she stopped right there in the middle of the road, and they both opened their doors and they started talking to each other right there.
So if Sarah and Brandon pull into the neighborhood and stop to speak to a neighbor, that means that the search has already begun. And if they spoke about the Code Red Alert, or they received the Code Red Alert themselves, that means they probably came into the neighborhood anywhere from 8 to 8:30 p.m.
You told me you never seen Michael Vaughan before in your life prior.
Right. I never met him or his parents ever before.
Now keep in mind, we're just humoring Brandon and assuming that it is truth, just for speculation's sake. But it does seem to make sense with what was going on in the neighborhood versus what Brandon was speaking about, like the Code Red Alert and coming into the neighborhood as neighbors were searching. Now, one question does remain as to where was Stacy and Adrian and what were they doing once Sarah and Brandon left to tow the Mercedes back from the Kuna home. It's starting to make sense why investigators could see cell phone location data along with this tip that came out of nowhere, allegedly from Stacy, with the times and movement coming in and out of the neighborhood. It would also make sense as to why they searched the Kuna home, because at the time of Michael's disappearance, Brandon Shirtliff and Sarah Wondra are leaving to go to Kuna. And if Sarah and Brandon had stopped in the middle of the road on Southwest 8th Street to talk to a neighbor, that would also seem a little fishy, as it may look like someone was maybe exchanging something, or maybe that was a point of interest for police to investigate more. The fact of the matter is there are cameras at the start of Southwest 8th Street near the splash pad, and during the midday trip to Nampa, the timeline should be corroborated with cameras from the Karcher Mall, Applebee's, etc. What is the smoking gun? What is it that police believe one of these 4 suspects has involvement in Michael's case? Do they still believe this? Are they looking for someone outside of these 4 people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Birdie, you don't like Eve, do you?
You want an argument or an answer?
An answer.
No.
Why not?
Now you want an argument.